Hi everybody. So this is my presentation. I'm gonna start sharing a video, so you can think the through the presentation of the using the behavior expectation discrepancy tool to support young children with challenging behavior. I'm gonna repeat this again, but here it is. Here the presentation, the video. So the question will be referenced. I don't know. What is the presentation about?
You want what?
A puppet show.
You want a puppet show? You want a puppet show? And that's the problem? So what are we going to do to solve your problem?
Daquan hit me alright.
Oh, the problem is Daquan hit you over here. All right, let's get Daquan and see if we can solve the problem with Daquan. Daquan, we have a problem over here. I need to help Noelle and you solve your problem. Could you come over here? Okay. I'm gonna hold on to these puppets while we talk. Daquan, you look a little upset too. What happened? No, Noelle said there's a problem about hitting. What happened?
Like that.
Okay, both of you don't like this hitting. Okay, the problem is hitting. Do you have any problem about Don't hit. That's how you want to solve the problem. Noelle, Daquan said to solve the problem. He said don't hit. Did that solve the problem?
Daquan, please don't hit me.
Oh, you want to say to Daquan, please don't hit me. That's what Noelle wants to say to solve the problem. So that's how we're going to solve the problem? And you're going to get one puppet? So we solved the problem? We solved the problem. Okay.
Okay, so this is the video that I want you to think through. Maybe you have watched this video before. And here is me, and here is the presentation. I also will copy and paste the link on the model if you have to rewatch this video. Behavioral expectation discrepancy tool to support young children with challenging behavior by Samantha Wiggin and Joseph John Morgan. They sort this article in 5 parts. I'm just going to pass through. If you guys want to read it all through, you just have to stop. What I'm gonna try to do the most fast as I can. So I'm sorry if some words you have a little bit trouble to understand. So the first part that they focus is in managing and shaping appropriate classroom behavior. They start with how to do this, and the first thing is that the teacher or the early childhood educator must recognize developmentally appropriate behavior and identify when behavior are outside the acceptable range. What are those behaviors? Are like the temperament awareness, difficult temperament, or externalizing behavior. But there are some risks as factors that could be predictors of potential inappropriate social behavior. And for these young children, and early screening tools for children at risk for emotional and behavioral disorder, which is something important that the educator must know. There are some strategies as functional behavior assessment and the behavioral expectation discrepancy tool, which is what this article focus. And there are some limitations as like the cultural background of the teacher or the educator, biases and inability to capture environmental features, and other ones that you can read through as the settings in the environment that the teacher chooses or educator chooses to evaluate. So what is this behavioral and expectation discrepancy tool? This is designed for all teachers in early childhood environment to identify critical behavior expectations within their classroom environments, and possible problems behavior that may impact a child's access to the environment. And what these two allow to the educator is the ones that are on the screen, to determine typical behavior expectation of young children within early childhood settings, discrepancy between typical expectation and exhibit behaviors that may cause children difficulties or difficulty in assessing the environment, the specific characteristic of the behavior problems as seen across a variety of settings. So using these two for direct observation of social emotional interactions in early childhood environments, there's is an example that is also on the article. It's sort in 5 parts um, that I'm gonna show you right now by step. The first one is a determination of delineate behavior expectation of different settings. Um, the person who the person who is doing the using this tool have to identify the child who may have discrepancy in expectations and behaviors. um, you guys can stop the video and read through, but some recommendations are to identify 2 or 3 settings within the environment that the child display the highest number of problem behavior. Some examples are here, like in the circle time, at the time that the child is on groups activities or small group activities, outdoor playing, or lunch. I think I mentioned before. The second one is determining a typical behavior of young children in early childhood educational settings. Um, those observations should be scheduled activities, like they must be in the area that the child is always be. Um, and these have to focus especially on the child and are typically developing in the different identified environments where the focus and child might be display problematic behavior. An example of that is on the circle time. Um, Also, the child cannot be targeted as having a behavioral problem if all children are struggling with meeting expectation. The third step is determining the difference between exhibited and expected behavior. And also, the expectation must be in the way that I read the article is must be like in a positive way, and also this part is important because is when the educator is collecting the data, which is the focus, especially on how the child's and social, emotional, and behavioral interaction differ from the learned expectation. Okay, so with in the fourth step, additional notes related to observation and technically is in the last column where the person who is evaluating have to write like the details, and also another antecedent or influence um, examples of the behavior, like for example something that is around and like in the environment, because sometimes it's not that the child have a really behavior challenge, and might be can be something in the environment. And the last step is ensuring representative and robust observation. This is mean that it have to be not just one observation. Like it must be several observations for at least 20 minutes. And what about the findings of this study? Is that this tool is easy to use and understand, is sound friendly, as they describe in the article, and is helpful to identify a child with behavioral problems and suggest intervention interventions. I'm sorry. Some cons of this is that the lack of training that the teacher can have, or understanding of the child's behavioral problems. So, like, this is something that raise concern, because um, if they don't know, they can do an error. Okay, so some conclusions of this article in general is that there are many limitations and lack that the processes of knowing what the exact behaviors are in the natural environment and the circumstances under which they occur, and that the, they must have an more practice and research that focus with targeting the interventions based on observation data collection. Now, the questions, I played the video already, but the question are you agree with this intervention that the person used in the video? And yes, no, why, and what strategy will you use in this situation? Like, and also how the teachers can influence in this, and how this tool could help you with example. And finally, what expectation, and if you were in that place, what expectation will you put in the tool? Um, And that's all. I hope you guys enjoy it, and thank you so much for watching my little movie. Okay, this is my presentation. See you in class.